Hey, welcome back to another Mobile Edit Monday. Today, we're going to just dive straight into Photoshop Express because I'm really having a lot of fun with editing photos. In fact, the photo that I'm working on today, I already modified inside of Photo Express or Photoshop Express, and I really enjoy that. Now, not affiliated with them or sponsored by them, being Adobe, that's the them. I just really enjoy the product, and I do pay for a monthly subscription to Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. So no pressure for anyone to go get that, but I do kind of want to show you how the tool works and what I've been able to do with it. So I'm going to hit these three dots here on my image, and then I'm going to hit Photoshop Express. Yes, turn off live view because I did snap this photo using my iPhone. Now, when you get access to the Photoshop Express uh, platform, if you will, you get a few different options down here at the bottom. You get looks, adjustments, crop, borders, and then eyes, right? Now, one of the first places that you may want to go to is the looks tab, I guess you can call it. And I personally want to turn this into a black and white photo because I think that that's what looks the best. So I'm going to tap on the black and white here, and you can see there are a good amount of adjustments that, or filters, looks, whatever you want to call it. You can add those to your image. Now, if I hover over this little slider or in the middle here, pull it left and right, I can make that adjustment more strong or less strong and really changes the way that it looks. All right. Now, double tapping doesn't actually reset it. I wish they would add that feature, but it's not there. So what I'm going to do is just go through and look at a few of them. Now, I personally really enjoy the high contrast black and white on this particular image, but if you look at some of these other ones, you can see that there's some pretty nice black and white adjustments that are already standard to the Photoshop Express plugin or application. But I'm going to go with the high contrast black and white because that's what I personally enjoy. And I'm just going to pull it to the left just a little bit from what it was originally at. Now we can jump over to the adjustments tab. And with the adjustments, this is like your normal highlights, contrast, shadows, things of that sort. Nothing that isn't over the top hard to understand. I'm just going to tap on contrast. I'm going to pull up on that because I do want more contrast in the overall scene. I like what the light is doing here. And that's actually the reason why I took the photo. When I seen it, I said, hey, that's going to be a black and white image. And I kind of like the yellow of the chair, but I didn't really care for it as much. I really just enjoyed the way that the light was coming at a horizontal over from the top right to the lower left. And really the light was coming from the left to the right, but it just, in my opinion, I seen the light coming from the upper right to the lower left. That's beside the point. I'm going to come over to the whites and I'm going to push up on the whites. And whenever you make a black and white photo, I like to increase my whites just so that way they're a little bit brighter and it works out a little bit more. I don't really want to mess with the shadows because I like where the shadows are, but I will come over to the blacks and I will increase the blacks. Now, to increase the blacks on this particular application, you move it to the left, right? So now I'm moving my blacks just a little bit, and I really like what I'm getting with this particular look. I'm not going to worry about any of the color information here, but I will come over to clarity. And I like to play around with clarity whenever I work on a black and white because you can get a different look, right? If I pull this over to the left, you see how that softens everything up in the clarity, and that could be a look you're going for. I think I personally would add a little bit of clarity because I want to put more punch and edge into this image. And I think the best way of doing that is just by adding a little bit of clarity. I don't need to worry about dehaze, and I'm not going to worry about the sharpen or reducing any of the noise because I don't really see anything in this image that needs that reduction. Now, the next step is going to be cropping. This is 100% subjective, but I personally would like to just crop this in using a freeform. So all I'm going to do is move this around until I get what I want. And what strikes me the most about this image is really that chair. So I want to put that as close to one of the PowerPoints on my rule of thirds as I possibly can. To the best of my knowledge, we don't have any other overlays inside of Photoshop Express, so that way we can choose which one to use, like we do in On One. However, I can do a whole lot of damage with the rule of thirds. So what I'm going to do is just drag this over from the left, just bring it into the right a little bit, because I don't need that entire pillar. I just need enough of it to frame the chair. And then I can do the same thing to the right. So that way the frame, there's enough context in the overall image. So if I just come back to adjustments and close that crop out, you can see that the chair is still framed, and it makes for, in my opinion, a little bit more interesting of an image. Now, what I always enjoy doing with black and white images, and I'm thankful that Photoshop Express has this, I can go to borders, and then I like to hit basic. And on the basic tab here, I use the B3 or the B4. Those two give me the most aesthetic pleasing, or the most pleasing look in my personal opinion. Now, I'd love to hear what you think if you're using this app, which one you would prefer. The difference is really down in the corners of the border. One has a rounded corner and the other one has a straight edge corner. So I'm going to use the BA4 because that allows me to have that straight edge corner that I appreciate. So that is everything I really need to do with this particular edit. So I'm just going to hit done, and then that's going to take me back to Apple Photos with my basic black and white. Now, what's really cool about this is I can now modify this photo just a little bit more if I wanted to. And one of the things that I really enjoy doing, I'm just going to look for the contrast. There it is. The contrast in my image. And if I pull down on this, you can see how much more rich of a black and white that I'm starting to get. Now, I'm sure I am absolutely clipping, but from an artistic standpoint, I'm okay with clipping on my image because I think that this adds a little bit of character and drama and interest to the image whenever you pull down on the contrast and you clip some colors or clip the luminance, whatever you want to call it. So I think I'm going to go with that, and I'll call that the final image. Now, if you are editing your mobile photos either on a computer or on a cell phone, or in this case on a tablet, I'd love to hear what your thought process is, how much you take or how much time you spend editing your photos on mobile devices, or even just mobile photos in general. Maybe you're taking them on your cell phone and uploading them into Lightroom Classic or something on a computer and editing there, or maybe you're putting them into On One, whatever it may be, Luminar Neo. I'm just curious because I love to hear the workflow that other people are using. I know that what I'm doing isn't the only workflow that's available, so I'd love to hear what you guys got going on. Well, I'm going to leave it there. And until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.